right, next up, Shannon Brewing Company. Shannon Carter, come on up. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. You get a podium, you can use a handheld, your timer's right there.
Awesome. Thank you. Howdy, everybody. I'm Shannon Carter. I'm the founder and lead brewer at Shannon Brewing Company. I founded the company with my wife, Mari, and my children, Sean and Riley. In case you're curious, yes, we are a little bit Irish. If you've ever been to Ireland, it's chock full of natural beauty, but maybe you didn't know it's chock full of crazy brewers with a thriving craft beer scene. I'm happy to call several of these brewers my friends. These brewers do fun and unusual beers in unusual ways, but they're tied to tradition, tied to practicality, tied to pragmatism, and I love them. So we've taken all the things that we love from Ireland and the Irish breweries, we balled it up, brought it back to Texas, and started our brewery, Shannon Brewing Company. And we are brewers of all natural beer. What do I mean by that? We built our brewery on Samantha Springs grounds. Samantha Springs is the oldest documented spring in Texas, produces about 300,000 gallons of spring water a day. And by building our brewery there, we get the unadulterated spring water. So we brew with water with no chlorine, no fluoride, no other treatments, just straight through our filtering system, into our tanks, into our custom designed brew house, custom engineered, custom designed, where we get to brew with fire. Fire heats our mash, fire heats our boil kettle, and fire is incredibly important to us. It caramelizes our sugars in a way that you can't get with superheated steam or electricity, and allows us to produce these wonderful malt-forward beers. If you had to boil our beer down, boil our beer down, get it? If you had to boil our brand down to a single word, that would be wholesome. Wholesome is our brand essence. It controls everything about our brewery, from our product design to our architectural design, certainly our collateral design. It's the governing aspect of how we treat each other and how we treat our vendors and how we treat our customers. It even governs our distribution relationships. Most of all, it governs our beer. We want wholesome beers, and it approaches our brewing methodology, and it also governs our packaging methodology. I brought with me today our Irish Red and our Chocolate Stout, which are our best sellers and our most decorated beers, respectively. Wholesome also describes our distribution strategy, which is go deep before you go wide. And we were self-distributed in 2015 in North Texas and Central Texas. In 2016, we connected the dots and moved throughout Texas, or Central Texas anyway. And in 2017, well, I don't think we're going to go have a national distribution strategy in 2017, but this map does show you where we might go. The darkest green are the areas with the highest concentration of Irish population, where we would get almost automatic samplings and therefore better opportunity to buy. That's my presentation. Slán va.
All right, great stuff. No, that was fantastic. Good job, Shannon.
Thank you.
All right, Amy, we'll start with you. What do you think of Shannon Brewing Company and Shannon's presentation? I think it should be on.
I can hear you.
Why do you think that you're going to go into, like, why do you want to go into states where you think that, you know, it's Irish population? Do you gravitate toward that? Do they gravitate towards you? Or it's just your thoughts about where you want to go because of that? Just curious.
That's a great question. We pretty much own one holiday, and that's the biggest on-premise holiday, and that's St. Patrick's Day. We've seen that if we can get a sampling, we have about a 70% propensity to buy and rebuy. And so if we can get those handles during St. Patrick's Day, celebrations, we've shown our ability to keep and hold those handles. and the retail space as well.
Okay, I'm curious. Thank you.
Carmen, you're nodding your head. Do you agree with that kind of focus? That kind of focus?
I think that 70% rebuy sounds terrific, and I want some of that. I think that is probably also a function of being in a localized area. What I really like is that, when we looked at the map of the Texas counties and then the map of the U.S., I love that you have a plan, that you're thinking about the future. I think that's the right move. Don't underestimate that moving into new markets, while you may get sampling at the beginning, the repeat purchase is actually going to be much more difficult in those areas without support. So keep focused on that.
Yeah, that's great feedback. If we did not leave Texas, we could meet all of our goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tom, did you feel that wholesome descriptor that Shannon was talking about in the beers?
I'll be honest, the thing that I struggle with a little bit is that it's always good to have a point of differentiation, but I almost feel like there's too much point of differentiation here, and not only in the brand, but also in the beer itself. And the question I would have is, can you be too focused? And do you alienate people by doing that? And I also wonder if the beer styles themselves don't lend themselves to a narrow scope, if that's the ultimate end. How many different beers can you make within an Irish style parameter? And then I'm also curious about the fire portion of this. Is it direct fire? Is that how you're getting the fire component?
It's indirect fire.
Indirect fire?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's currently a 20-barrel brew house. We can do 4 brews a day on that. So it is scalable. It's what I think where you were going. Yeah.
Dan, in terms of the distribution strategy that Shannon laid out, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I sort of echo some of the sentiments earlier. I would continue to focus on going deep in Texas and growing your existing footprint. The farther you get away from your home market, the less relevant, consumers might have towards your brands, because in those markets there's already local craft brewers that they're gravitating toward. I think there's still a lot of runway in Texas. My one question is, your branding. I like the fact that all of your cans looked consistent, just different color variations by the style, but your name is really small on that. And when you're sitting on the shelf with 100 other brands, I would just recommend maybe blowing up the name and making sure that your brand name stands out a little bit more, and also telling a little bit more about the Irish roots on the side of it, calling that story out to the consumer.
Yeah. Good feedback.
Yeah, Stephen, that's your turn to get 15 seconds.
15 seconds. Well, I liked it. I liked the beer. I like your distribution plan and price point. I will say with the package that watching you talk about the main components, the Irish and the wholesomeness, it really comes through when you talk. And for me, it didn't come through in the package. And I think those are stories you should be able to tell.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Thanks.
Great stuff, guys. Thanks so much.